And if you are just joining us, this is Michele White from preschoolersandpeace.com, and I'm joined by Kendra Fletcher, also of preschoolersandpeace.com. Hello, Kendra.
Hi, Michele. This was a quick one.
This is a very quick one. She texted me 25 minutes ago and said, I've got some time, let's do it. So here we are. I have a 2-year-old with a fever. I think he has an ear infection, and his daddy is consoling him. And Kendra, you've been deep cleaning today, right?
Okay, so just to make everybody feel better, I think we live pretty clean, but when I went into my teenage, well, I won't say who. I went into somebody's bedroom, and the bathroom smelled like a Subway. It was just, So lots of bleach and vinegar and baking soda and lemon juice.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we all have had those kind of days. And I spent the weekend at the Valley Home Educators Homeschool Convention in Modesto, and Kendra was one of the speakers there on Friday. I was able to help a friend at Kim Kautzer at her Right Shop booth. She was selling her curriculum, and I was able to spend the weekend there helping her. But you know, while I was there, I was talking to a lot of moms who are worried, and they're not looking forward to the school year, don't know how they're going to manage it. And I just want to let you guys know that are listening, we will be reposting some of our really good stuff that Kendra has written in the past about how to manage homeschooling with little ones, what to do when you've had a newborn baby and homeschooling is coming up. So if you're in that position, don't worry. Just let it go and relax, because it is going to be okay. So I just wanted to put that out there because it's been on my heart today. But today we are going to talk about what curriculum the White family and the Fletcher family are using this year. So Kendra, what do you guys use for math?
Oh, well, it definitely depends on which child. So this year, just a quick rundown, I've got 2 in high school, 1 in junior high, 2 in elementary, and then my special needs kindergartner. And so just real quickly, my oldest 2 take math classes on campus, which is brilliant for high schoolers. Caroline, my 8th grader, will be taking pre-algebra on an online class at kirklick.com. I messed that one up. kirklick.com. Awesome. I'm a huge Kirklick Live Classes fan, and that would be my biggest encouragement as we go along here today. If you need to get something off your plate, Mom, or if something is really stressing you out, take advantage of kids' accountability to somebody else. So that's that. And then my 2 elementary, I have a 5th and a 2nd grader, and they will be using rod and staff.
Okay, so we are using for math, we have used Singapore math for a long, long time, and my oldest child, who is going into 6th grade, she will be doing Singapore 6, and my middle 2 used to be doing both Singapore, but there started to be some competition because the younger one, who's going into 2nd grade, had caught up to the one going into the 4th grade. So we decided that was not a good idea. So our 4th grader will continue on with Singapore math, and our 2nd grader will be using Life of Fred. And so far, he is absolutely loving Life of Fred. He thinks it's funny. He tells me the stories. He just wants to read them again and again. So we're excited about using Life of Fred this year. I wish I could find them secondhand because they're a little pricey. They're like $16 for one book, but I think they're hardback, and I can use them again for the other kids. So I'm excited about that, and he's definitely already loving it. So Life of Fred for my youngest one, and Singapore math for the others.
That's great. We have a funny Life of Fred story. We were in between curriculums for my really math-headed daughter, and I handed her a Life of Fred book and said, just read this until, or just work through this. And so when I went to give her new curriculum and I went to take the Life of Fred away, she said, no, Mommy, I read that before I go to bed at night. So Life of Fred's a winner.
It definitely is. It's not what you kind of think a math book is like, but it gets the information across, and that's the whole point. So
exactly.
It's definitely been a winner for us. Now, Kendra, what does your family use for English or language arts?
Well, this is my particular subject. I mean, I'm a writer, so I'm real picky, and I try to really tailor it to what a child's needs are. So it's very different again. My high schooler, my senior is taking an AP English class online. My sophomore is taking. I'm actually using a public school textbook from Harcourt. Harcourt. I can't remember what the publisher is, but I've gone through and crafted it entirely the way I need her to do it. Let's see, my 8th grader will be doing Write with World 2. I'm a big fan of the Write with World writing curriculum, and she's also in classical conversations, so she'll be getting some reinforcement there. And then my 5th grader is going to be doing a Kerclick.com live literature and writing class. And then, gosh, I need to look at my list here because I can't remember what Christian's doing. Oh, Christian is going to be doing daily grams, which are just real quick grammar, gets punctuation and grammar across. And then he's going to be doing writing tales when I feel like he's ready. He's a 2nd grader, and writing tales is good for maybe a strong writer around 2nd grade, 3rd grade. So I love writing tales. It's a classical curriculum.
Okay. Well, we are starting with our 2nd and 4th grader. They'll both be doing Write Shop C, Primary C, and I'm combining them and then planning to make it more challenging for the 4th grader, and then our 2nd grader will have to work a little bit harder to do that. One of the things I learned over the weekend when I was helping at the Write Shop booth at the convention was that I've probably placed my 2nd grader a little too high. But I'm going to go ahead and keep him in C and just know that I have the flexibility as his teacher and homeschooler that to change it as I need to. So I've got my two middle ones in Write Shop C, and then my 6th grader will be doing a writing class that one of my friends is teaching, and she's just putting it together using literature, and I'm confident it's going to be amazing. And then she's also doing a literature class through our co-op. So she's going to have plenty of writing. She's a natural writer, so I don't feel that I have to do a curriculum with her right now. We may end up going back into Write Shop 1 later in the year, but we'll see how that goes. But we also use Rod and Staff. My 2 middle ones, the 2nd and 4th grader, will use Rod and Staff English, which is super great for grammar and punctuation and that kind of thing. And then my 6th grader also does daily grams. So she does it at her whatever level she's at. Because grammar is important, which I need to interject here. If anyone read the little blurb that I wrote about the Hangout about commas, so my husband and I were having a discussion today, and it turns out we have to agree that we can both be right on this one. So we were talking about commas, and I said you always put a comma before the word to, T-O-O. So like me, comma, T-O-O, to me too. And he said, no, that's ridiculous. So we Googled it, and it turns out we're both right. And I'm having a really hard time admitting that. So grammar is important to me, and proper punctuation usage is important. So I like to keep the kids going on that because I think it's writing. People do judge you by how you write, and it's important. Now, if you ever read what I write on Facebook, sometimes it's not always my best writing, but anyway, so.
Facebook doesn't count.
No, Facebook doesn't count, right? Neither does texting. Although you're always very grammatically correct in your texting.
Yeah, and my teenagers make fun of me, so whatever. But, no, you said something about the writing thing. It's interesting. Last night, as I was preparing my kids' to-do lists for today, I was actually on Pinterest looking at sort of deep cleaning lists and like, oh yeah, we need to do that. Oh yeah, we need to do that. And then assigning it to a child. And I was reading this fabulous blog post series on deep cleaning, but this poor woman's grammar and spelling was so bad that it was hard for me to read. And I agree with you. I think we just can't let this subject slide at all. Yeah, so if you're going to, I always think that reading, writing, arithmetic, if you are overwhelmed, stick with those 3.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to a mom over the weekend, and she was absolutely overwhelmed. And I said, if you read out loud every day and your child's able to read a little bit every day, and you do some math and they do some writing, then that's good. You've absolutely covered what's important, and everything else is just gravy. So if that's where you're at, absolutely just cut back to what are the essentials, and don't worry about all the other things.
Right.
And that leads me on to another subject of science. Now, I know that you even have a seminar that you give on science for moms who don't like science. So I know it's not your favorite.
No.
So I've mentioned this in previous Hangouts. This summer, I actually hired a tutor to come and teach my kids, my 3 big kids, twice a week for an hour and a half, and he's doing chemistry and physics with them. So by the time he's finished, he will have done 10 to 1.5 hour sessions. So I decided to call that science for the semester, and we will not be doing any more science this semester. Not that I'm teaching. One of my kids is doing an anatomy class at our co-op because she just loves that kind of thing. But I've decided that those 10 sessions that we did over the summer will count as science for the semester, and I'm not doing any more science because it's just one of those subjects I can't get to. So I've chosen not to do it. Now, he's using the Christian Kids Explore series from Bright Ideas Press, and we're using the chemistry and the physics books, and he's just kind of picking sessions out. And he was using another one prior to that and said that he didn't like it very much. And he's actually a science and math teacher in a public school. And so I borrowed them from Kendra, and they are wonderful. He says they're super intuitive, they work well, they flow well. So Christian Kids Explore, and they have biology and chemistry and physics. I'm not sure what other one. They might have one more, but those are for
astronomy.
Astronomy.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're like a space. I think
that sounds right. So if you're looking for a really great science program that my family really likes, the Christian Kids Explore from Bright Ideas Press is a great place to start. Kendra, do your kids do science this year?
Yes. Well, one of the things that I talk about in that workshop for moms who don't like science is that Dr. Jay Weil, who's the man who started the Apologia textbook ministry and business, he began writing those textbooks. So that's Dr. Jay Weil. And I had read an article by him years ago where he talked about science in the elementary years from preschool to 8th grade, or actually until your students are doing higher math, it's not science. So what you're really doing is familiarizing them with scientific concepts or terminology, really vocabulary, science vocabulary, nature study, exposing them to things that God has made in the world around us, but it's not science. And that was really freeing to me because I realized I didn't have to try to get physics concepts into my 3rd grader's head, and I didn't have to do all these elaborate experiments or all of these things. We could just read and absorb and take nature walks and watch Discovery Channel and talk about science, and I have a voracious reading 7-year-old son. I could say, oh, you're interested in that? Here, let's get some books on tornadoes from the library. Those kind of things. And so it has just freed me in those elementary years to take a deep breath and say, it's all good. I don't need to shove this, down their throats. Now, on the upper end of that, I do have a son who's starting nursing school this year. That's a highly scientific field he's going into, or lots of science classes he'll have to take, and he's not intimidated by them. I have a daughter who is definitely science-minded. She'll be taking chemistry in a class this year, and she took biology in a class last year. I made sure her high school science opportunities were lab-based and were, really going to challenge and encourage her in something she loves. But for my 8th graders and below, this year, really what we're doing is we're going through all of the stuff I have that I haven't used over the years. Because I don't know, are you a curriculum collector?
No, well, I have been, and I try to pass it on when I realize I'm not going to use it.
Well, so this year I decided I'm buying nothing. I am going to use what we have, and what we have is we have a lot of little kits that I had gotten for a review one time, and we're going to work our way through the kits. Awesome. And they're all kinds of different science-related topics, and we're going to read science books and do some things like that and call it good.
Good. And I've mentioned before on the blog that we have all the Magic School Bus DVDs, and those are amazing. You stick one of those on, and they learn some great concepts that the kids remember. But again, it's just an exposure at the elementary level, so it's not getting all crazy about it. And that's why I was happy to just go, okay, we'll have a tutor come in, because one of my daughters asked for more science. And yeah, the nature walks, the books, and the reading and exploring things is definitely a great way to go. And I'm so glad to be able to take that off my shoulders, for sure.
I agree.
Now I'm trying to think, what else is, so we did math and English. Oh, history, of course. We talk about Mystery of History all the time.
Yep.
So my family is doing we're still working on Mystery of History Volume 1, and we're just going to keep chugging through that. And then my oldest daughter, who's the 6th grader, she really wanted to learn all about Japan. And so my husband has set her up. She's developing her own wiki on the computer. So if you're familiar with Wikipedia, it's similar to that, but she's doing it herself. So she's researching and then making this wiki. Now, I don't expect some of my other children to do that kind of work, but it's what she's interested in, and currently she's been researching sushi like crazy. Learning about the history of sushi and all the different kinds of sushi and sushi competitions, and of course now she wants to learn to make sushi. So we're going to call that her social studies, and she's a voracious reader as well, so she's reading a lot. And then my other kids are doing Mystery of History Volume 1 this year.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, my 8th grader down, so really 8th, 5th, and 2nd, we're on Mystery of History 4. This is the first time that volume is coming out, so we're excited, and that's where we are in history. And we also choose a lot of our read-alouds during the year based on which period of history we're in. So we'll be reading some things, from the 19th and 20th centuries.
I'm excited to get to that one because that's a part of history that I often don't read much about.
Yeah, it'll be great. And what we love about Mystery of History is, aside from her thoroughness, she brings everything back to the gospel. And so to have these really difficult subjects, the Holocaust and even the Trail of Tears, and some of those heavy, difficult humanitarian topics, and have her bring it back to the gospel is really wonderful.
Yeah, that's obviously a few years down the track for us, but I'm excited to hear how you guys like that one. Do you guys still do handwriting at this age when you've got a 2nd grader and a 5th grader?
Well, it certainly depends on the child. So I have one who didn't need much handwriting instruction because she just she's the one that put the hearts over the eyes, and she kind of just did all that on her own. But my 5th grader and my 2nd grader need it this year, and so I have actually I'm doing Handwriting Without Tears with them, which I really like. I like that curriculum, so they're both doing it. She's going to do cursive, and he's going to just keep working on his printing. And then Handwriting Without Tears has come out with a keyboarding program. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, I'll tell you, we haven't started it yet, so it remains to be seen. But it was $6.50 for them to use this, and I thought, for $6.50, if they use it twice and hate it, I got my money's worth,
Right.
So we're going to try that too and give them some keyboarding skills. My older kids and I have had a lot of conversations about keyboarding skills and whatnot. So I think it's important.
Oh, good. The last things I think the only thing I can think of that's left is art. I don't know if you schedule art in. It's one of those subjects that for me we kind of do when we have time or when I just need to do something different. We don't use a curriculum, so to speak, but one of our friends, Candace, from His Mercy is New, I think her blog is mercyisnew.com. She has some wonderful posts on using Pinterest to teach art. And so I just go onto her blog and grab one of her ideas that she's found, and I'm like, okay, we're going to do art today. And then it's super easy. I have some great supplies already at hand. And then we also like to do the chalk pastel tutorials from Trisha Hodges at, what's her blog? Hodgepodge Mom? I think that's what it is. I'm sorry, yes, Trisha, if I've gotten it wrong. But she has some great tutorials on the chalk pastels that we've talked about on the blog before. So we do some of those and some of the ideas that Candace has put together, and we kind of call it good. I wish we were a bit more intentional, but it's one of those things that I often don't get to. So I figure if we get to it a few times, well, hopefully more than a few times a semester, but a little bit, then we're okay. Do you guys do any kind of art program?
We do, and we've used a lot of different things over the years. See the Light, we've enjoyed those videos, but this year Christian and Ansley are really into a YouTube channel that is youtube.com/user/artforkidshub. So if you just were to Google Art for Kids YouTube, it's a dad who has created all these drawing lessons with his kids, and then they've filmed them really well for YouTube, and it's a YouTube channel. And Christian, who's 7, has just been working his way through all of those little videos. So that would be a free.
Oh.
Yeah.
I really like that. I'm gonna make sure to go find that one.
Yeah. I'll link to that one too. On my
Oh,
post.
good. Is there anything else that you want to mention, Kendra?
Well, I'm just looking over here at my little list, because without it I'm sunk. Oh, I have one who needs some spelling practice, so we do use sequential spelling. I have liked that. She'll also be doing some critical thinking things because she likes that, and I love critical thinking press. So she's going to be specifically using the Red Herrings book. And let's see, I think she's did the mathematical reasoning books this summer just for fun. So
that reminds me,
we will be doing when kids do things for fun.
We're doing all about spelling with our 2nd and 4th grader. They're both doing it at different levels because, again, they just need some extra help with spelling. So we like All About Spelling. It's a great program. We did All About Reading as well. And I'm actually starting to look at my 4-year-old, and I don't want to start doing kind of school with him because he's only 4, but he's at the point where he's really, really ready, and I don't want to miss that opportunity. So if I decide to do that, I'll probably be doing All About Reading with him as well. They have some great pre-reading programs, so I have lots of good things to say about that one.
That's great.
And other than that, we have music lessons, and that's kind of about it. We don't go super crazy with stuff because I can't manage that.
Yeah.
But again, so go ahead, Kendra.
Well, I was just going to remind everybody, because I like to remind people of this. Your family doesn't live in a vacuum. Your kids are exposed to what your family is exposed to and your family culture. Baseball, if that's your thing, or music, or movies. My husband's a big cinema fan, and so he always exposed our kids to good films, and then they discussed them, from like a cinematic quality thing, only just because that was his thing. So those are the kind of things your kids are growing up with. You listen to the NPR radio news show called Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. My kids they've had that on in the background for years. And so, we're discussing current events and things like that just because that's part of our family culture. So If you're concerned that just paring down and doing non-negotiables like reading, writing, and arithmetic this year is not going to be enough, look around and realize what your family culture is, and realize that your kids are getting an education in social studies and some other subjects because your family is who you are.
I can't add anything to that. That was absolutely perfect. So, Kendra, thank you for joining me. We are out of time right now, but if you're watching, we would love to hear from you on our Facebook page, facebook.com/preschoolersandpeace. We will be putting all of the things that we mentioned into 2 posts over the next week so that you can see the specific websites that we're linking to. And if you have any questions, we're always happy to hear from you. Kendra, thanks for joining me at the last minute.
Woohoo! Thanks, Michelle.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see everyone next week, hopefully. Thank you.